Bailey?
I'm good, thanks. Kelsey said y'all scrimmaged the Mystics today. How'd that go?
It was good. It was controlled. We did some half-court execution stuff and then played some 4-minute segments. And, so we were able to use different lineups, but actually get some conditioning and some running up and down. So, it's for our players, we've obviously only had 9 so far, and, not having a sub and always going against one another, it was good to be able to kind of see different combinations out on the court. I thought our intensity was good. We made some mistakes. I would expect that. Our execution has to be better. We were probably better in transition than we were in the half court. No surprise early in the season in that regard. I mean, this has to be part of our identity. Our pace has to be good, and we get great pace from Benijah and Blake on the wings. And, Kennedy's learning to play at that pace consistently from the point.
Edwin Powell, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Edwin Powell with Game Time Radio. You kind of briefly mentioned Kennedy. I was wondering what you thought about her today going against seeing some different faces for the first time.
Yeah, I thought, Kennedy's a gamer. She loves to play in these big games. What she has to learn to do is to manage the game. I mean, really, that's not easy for any point guard, especially a rookie point guard, but understanding, hey, it's the last possession. I need to pull it out. I'm yelling one shot and she's throwing the ball ahead, and we end up turning it over. And so, I thought from a rookie perspective, first opportunity, having, Ariel Atkins was guarding her part of the time. Ariel was all defensive team 2 years ago. So we know she's someone that can really get up and guard and has size and strength. So, I thought that was a good challenge for her. For the most part, she made some really good shots. She had a few turnovers. She's got to understand our playbook a little bit better so that she knows who to get the ball, where to get them the ball, and when to get them the ball, and I think that just is going to take time. I mean, this is practice 8 for us, basically. So that's not a lot. And, we're trying to keep practices right at 2 hours. We stretch before and after, so we might be at the gym for closer to 3, but as far as like up and down and side to side and, putting things in, we've really taken the approach that less is more, and let's get good at the things we do. And then let's just be really consistent in our tempo at how we do things. So I thought Kennedy shot the ball well. I thought she guarded hard. I think she felt herself get tired. And so what is your decision making like when you're tired? She's someone that, quite frankly, is impossible from touching the paint. I mean, there isn't probably a guard in this league, except one that's retired, and Elena Beard, that could maybe keep her from getting to the paint on every possession. So, it's the question for her of, when you get tired, are you going to settle and start taking jump shots and not attacking? Because when she's in attack mode, we're hard to guard.
All right, last call. Any questions? And of course, Bria has a question. Go ahead, Bria.
Hello. I kind of was a little late, but I was kind of wondering, like, what your thoughts on getting a scrimmage in, but also the bounce back from not playing for a while and training for a week, as far as like the fitness and everything.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were trying to be smart about that. We did do some half court execution, and then we kept it contained at 4-minute live segments so that there was more of a break. Now, when you think about what our games look like and TV timeouts and things like that, it's smart to go in 4 and 5 minute segments to get them back. I don't think there's any doubt that we got tired. But the good part is then they see it, because we've been very controlled in how much we go up and down with only 9 players. And, we feel like if we're getting conditioning, even in the half court, if we're cutting hard, if we're screening hard, if we're attacking and being aggressive, that we'll get our conditioning back little by little. And quite frankly, I think we're all in the same boat here. Different players are in different kinds of shape. We're all working back. And I think the last thing you want to do is to put your foot on the gas pedal, and all of a sudden, you've got tired legs and tired players when the season starts. So, it's been a balancing act of making sure we're stretching well. The best part about being here is that, we've been able to do strength and conditioning, which we don't get a lot of normally when we start training camp. So the consistency of the weight room here, of bringing my strength coach, who's also a massage therapist. So they're getting it on both ends. They're getting the strength and conditioning part, then they're getting the recovery part. So, we're working really hard to balance it, because the last thing we want to do is beat them into the ground and say, okay, we're in great shape now. But then all of a sudden we're tired. So, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully we get bodies back sooner rather than later, and kind of get to the roster that we anticipated having, coming out of the draft and free agency.
And the last follow-up was like, did you have like a prep time? Like I just found out about the scrimmage like today, but like kind of, did you have time to prepare for this?
Honestly, 2 days ago, we were told we could start having scrimmages today. So the coaches have been asking for a while, because a lot of teams, Washington has 10 players. We have 9. Different teams have, don't even have like really a full squad. So, it's a good opportunity for us to see different things, and, but at the same time, kind of balance and rest our players. And so when we found out immediately, the coaches and GMs got on the phone, or, met each other at the buffet, since we're all at the same place every day, and kind of figured out like, okay, we only did 40 minutes. Mike asked me, he's like, how about 40 minutes at the end of practice? Let's do some up and down. Let's do some. So he and I talked about it, over dinner last night, kind of what we wanted to do today. And then we're going to do the same thing with Connecticut on Tuesday, basically. And then the same thing with Vegas on Thursday. So, normally we're going to play 2 or 3 preseason games and really throw it up and play. We can't have officials yet. So these are, call your own at this point, which our players love, because of course we don't call anything. But, it's kind of the learning to play through stuff, but it's just good for us right now. We're used to 15 in training camp and 2 or 3 exhibition games. And so, this environment, we're across the curtain from Washington today. So it's really easy at any point in practice to just come over and say, hey, let's get some work against one another.
Leah, go ahead.
Hi, Coach. With the pieces that you have in camp and the way that the schedule is working this year, are you pleased with the versatility that you have? Do you feel that you have the right components there to maybe be able to throw somebody at a 1, 2, or 3 all at the same time because of the tightness of all this season?
Yeah, I think versatility is really important in this league. I think players that, whether they're starters, players that stay in this league, either have a primary skill set that you need, like they're just a great rebounder or a great shooter, or they're Swiss Army knives and can play multiple positions. We had no idea, quite frankly, I'll admit that, how good Benijah Laney could be. We thought she was someone that would replace some of Tiffany Hayes' defense and, give us some size and some rebounding, and someone who plays with great tempo and is high character. And, every coach that's coached her has said amazing things about her as a person. But she took over in part of our scrimmage today. She'll do exactly what you said. We can play her at the 2, we can play her at the 3, we can play her at the 4. We played a lot of small lineups just because of the nature of, who we have here right now. And so that means Strickland playing the 4 and Mo Billings playing the 5, and, Benijah will play the 3, and it allows us to switch at the 3, 4, 5 and keep athletes on the floor. And, certainly we're going to be undersized when we do that, but it is important versatility wise. I think right now, Blake Dietrich plays a little 1 and 2 and 3 for us. Kennedy's probably going to primarily play 1 just because of the nature of our numbers. And if she's in the game with Alexis Jones, Jones will probably play off the ball because Kennedy really puts more pressure on the defense off the bounce. And Alexis is, when she can get her feet set, she can really, really shoot it. So, it's figuring out how to put the pieces together and figure out a good rotation and how many effective minutes we can get out of players. I've never had a player since I've been in Atlanta average playing 30 minutes a game. Some of that was very purposeful 2 years ago. And staying fresh because of the nature of the shortened season with the World Championships. And then this past year, we just, didn't have anyone that was having the kind of season that needed to be on the floor for 35 minutes and wear them out. So, we'll balance players that are capable of being effective for 30 minutes a game versus like what our schedule looks like. If we have 3 games in 5 days, it's hard to play players consistently 32 to 35 minutes. So we'll try to hover around 30. So we've got to have bodies that are capable of coming off the bench and impacting us.
Last question, Bailey.
Did you see anything today that was unexpected or maybe surprised you?
I would say, there were a lot of good surprises, honestly. Like I think that, there's certainly the great part for us is we just get tape on ourselves and how people defend certain actions. And I'm sure Washington feels the same way. It's a different look, but, I thought there were stretches where Monique Billings was just really, really impossible for them to guard. Her combination of her bounce and her quickness when they switched in ball screens and put smaller players on them, she got physical and got around them. When they played bigger, she got by them. She was hard to keep off the glass. And then as much as anything, she was incredibly active on the defensive end. Like the difference between rookie Mo, second year Mo, and third year Mo is that she's learning why we do what we do. So she's, her first year, she just bounded around and was an athlete and got extra possessions and was a little up and down offensively. And even defensively, didn't exactly know where she was supposed to be, but she really is starting to understand the game. And so when you combine her athleticism with like being engaged, knowing where the ball's going, being prepared and help side, I think she probably of everyone had the most consistent scrimmage start to finish in terms of her effectiveness at both ends. And then, we've been seeing amazing stuff from Benijah in practice. I mean, she's been really, really good. So to see her do it in this setting, I mean, the scouting report on Benijah Laney through her career so far is that she can't shoot it. She's a defender. She's an energy player. And, it's just not what we've seen so far in camp. And so to see her do it in a 5-on-5 setting against another team, to make open shots, to attack, to score around the rim, that was a really pleasant surprise. I mean, it was what we had hoped was going to happen, that it was going to translate. But, she's been one of those players in this league that the scouting report has said, play off, help off. She's going to come attack you, just don't foul her. And, she's really developed her game and becoming, a better all around player, especially at the offensive end.
Okay, thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.
You've had the same assistant coaches, the same coaching staff all 3 years under Nicki in Atlanta. What impact does that have to have that consistency?
Yeah, I think it's just, understanding what they want, what they're looking for, and trying to communicate that to all the new players. I think even if we're going over plays or something, like I know what the coaches are looking for and what makes those plays most effective. So I just try to communicate that to everyone else.
Edwin Powell, go ahead.
Hey, Elizabeth. Today in the scrimmage against Washington, were there any surprises out there for you as far as just out there playing with new teammates and whatnot? Were there anything that you found surprisingly either good or bad?
I think Coach touched on it a little bit, but I think there are good surprises. I think it was really good to see the stuff that was translating from practice into the scrimmage, because obviously we've only been playing against each other and it's hard to see how that's going to translate to playing against another team. But I thought the energy was great. We've talked about playing with a high pace, and I think we did a really good job of doing that consistently. I thought Mo was awesome on offense and defense, and she kind of led the way with being consistent and with her energy. So yeah, I think overall there were just good surprises.
Leah, go ahead.
Pandemic, what was, am I still muted?
I heard a
No,
little.
you're not.
There you go. Okay, I'm sorry. It was coming up on my screen. Through the pandemic, prior to getting to camp, did you work on something specific to bring something extra into your repertoire on the floor this year? And have you been able to kind of see that mesh in? Also, on the mental side of the game, did you work on anything through the pandemic?
I think physically, once I was actually able to get in the gym, I tried to work on ball handling and shooting. Those are the things that I just consistently need to work on. And the handling is good, especially if we're doing dribble handoffs and things like that, being able to make good decisions that way. Mentally, it was nice to have a break. So just like meditating, journaling, kind of making sure to take time for myself, and being able to focus. I think that's what I focused on mentally.
And of course, I got to ask you, with Kara Lawson being named head coach at Duke this week, some of your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think it's a great hire. I was really excited. We actually had a women's basketball alumni call the other day, and it was great to see all the generations of Duke women's basketball just support Kara. And we're just looking forward to some really good years moving forward. So I'm excited. I was happy to be able to talk to her and see her excitement. And I know she's a good hire, and she's a great basketball mind.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, E.
Thanks.
Like for real, I was like, man, I need a notebook. I need to take notes. So it was really, really cool.
What are some of those things that you learned?
Oh man, I mean, running the floor is just like a moneymaker, and my teammates do a great job of that. And so their pace is like something that like I want to translate to my game all the time. And I mean, we do that in practice, but I mean, I've seeing the difference that it makes against other teams is, I mean, awesome. And then, oh gosh, it was just like so much defensive rebounding, and I mean, Mo killed it. And so really, I was just like, okay, I need some clips of her so I can review what she did.
Thanks.
Leah, go ahead.
Hi, Britt. Good morning. A couple of things. Did you have any apprehension when you came on the floor going against somebody else aside from your teammates, just because of the pandemic? And did it wipe away pretty quick once the ball got going on the floor and you started thinking about basketball?
Yeah, I mean, beforehand, I was like kind of jumping them down, trying to stay ready, and a little bit of nerves. But as soon as we started going up and down, like you're going so fast and trying to play your best game, that all that other stuff goes out the window. And so, but definitely prior to, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Follow up to that, I had asked E this question. What did you work on specifically prior to joining the team with so many unknowns, both on the court and maybe mentally off the court?
Yeah, on the court, I was lucky enough to have access to a gym by myself. And so really worked on, I mean, my outside shooting, that was like the main priority. And then just some go-to moves and counters as well, just that I have those in my toolbox, and I can always go back to those. And then off the court, I mean, really like, I mean, when we would review plays and what they would want through like our team film app, just looking in shots where I would get those in the game, and then translating that onto the court, making sure I'm shooting in those spots and getting those actions in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any last questions for Brittany? Oh. Edwin Powell, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Has there been any vet that is really kind of taking you to the side and giving you pointers? I guess, has there been one more than the other, or they have all kind of taken you under their wing?
I mean, they've all have done their fair share of taking me under their wing, but really just like two names, like in the guard spot, I mean, we got Alexis Jones. She's always in my ear, like letting me know what I can fix on that play, letting me know when I did good too. I mean, she's really a constant source of, I mean, just help and advice. And then position-wise, I mean, Mo is like always the same. And I know she does the same with all the other rookies and even the teammates. I think she's just a good leader like that. And so definitely have had her, I mean, encourage me and coach me. And I'm just really grateful that they are invested in my game as well.
Okay, thanks, Britt. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.